Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time. This is the video where I talk about some of the things you might want to read, some of the things that I'm going to be reading for the first quarter of this year's Historathon. So the Historathon is a year-long event. It's the third time it's happened, and I've been a co-host since the beginning, which is very lovely. I'm very honoured to be a co-host, and my mission is to put loads of historical stuff up this year, and the first quarter is what we're looking at in this video. So I'll just explain briefly the way that the quarters are spread out across the year. The idea of the event is to just possibly nudge you into reading history books if you're curious, or if you used to read history books, you want to go back to it, because that was the case for me, where I read a lot of history books when I did my degree, because I did a history degree, and I hadn't read some for a while, and it was nice going back to it. So that's kind of what the Historathon's given me over the years. But for some of you, it might be that you've never read a history book and you're kind of curious. You think, I'm going to try it, see what it's like. So it's that kind of thing. So the Historathon divides the year into 4 quarters. The first quarter concerns from prehistory to the year 500 AD. And the next quarter is a really big span of time, which is from 500 to 1500. So right through the Middle Ages, and then you've got the development of early modern Europe and all that kind of stuff, with the from 1500 to 1820 in the third quarter. And then the last quarter is modern history, with 1820 to present day. So that's where the divides lie with the 4 quarters. So this first quarter is prehistory to 500. So the idea is that you're exploring whatever you want to explore in that period. So it could be that you want to look at certain continents, or you want to look at your own backyard, or you want to look at various different things. It's up to you. So there's various different things we're looking at, and I just want to start off by saying that I put this book up in my announcement video, but once I started looking at it, I thought it didn't really feel like a book that I would enjoy much. It felt I don't know, it felt a bit romantic in its idea of Celtic history. So I thought I'd leave that for a minute and just try and get to something a little bit more grounded. And I found this one, The Celts, A Skeptical History, by Simon Jenkins. So I'm going to read this. So I'm looking forward to reading this. This might be the first one I read. Not sure. No, maybe not actually, because I've already started thinking about what I might read first. But anyway, this is the book that I'm going to be concentrating on with regards to the Celts. But there's also a lovely book here, which I did get out before, but I didn't read it, which is called Home by Francis Pryor, and it's a time traveller's tales from Britain's prehistory. Prehistoric Britain. So I think this looks really good. Was life in prehistoric Britain really just a brutal, rootless struggle for survival? In Home, Francis Pryor reveals a completely different picture of the past, showing that hearth and home lay at the heart of our ancestors' lives, and led to some of the most profound advances in human society. This looks really good. So we're going to read that. And again, I bought this one a little while ago for the Historathon, but I need to look at it again. Viking Britain. So the way clearly that the Vikings influenced and occupied Britain. So to many, the word Viking invites visions of violence, but plunder, rape and pillage do not tell the full story. In this fresh narrative history, Thomas Williams, a curator of the British Museum exhibition Vikings Life and Legend, reframes the story of the Vikings, weaving new academic research with an exploration of the physical remains and landscapes that the Vikings fashioned and walked. This book offers a vital evocation of a forgotten world, its influence on British language, literature, place names and folklore, its echoes in later history and its implications for the present. So this looks like a really good book. So I need to look at that again because I didn't look at it properly before. And this one, shout out to Mark from Book Time with Elvis, because he picked this one up. He talked about this one in his announcement video and it looks really good. So this is actually the second time I've filmed this part of Possibilities because I wanted to get that once he'd mentioned it. So the Tribes of Britain, Who Are We and Where Do We Come From by David Miles. And Tom Gould did the cover. I like Tom Gould's art style. So maybe that was another thing that persuaded me to get it. I don't know. That would be crazy, but there we are. I like some of the Saramago books I've got with Tom Gould covers as well. But anyway, the Tribes of Britain looks really, really good. So this is how it says, who are the English, the Irish, the Scots and the Welsh? A rag bag of migrants reflecting thousands of years of continuity and change. New scientific techniques can explore the complex genetic jigsaw, ancient Britons and Saxons, Celts and Romans, Vikings and Normans, and the more recent migrations which have caused these multicultural islands. Drawing on the most recent discoveries, this book both challenges traditional views of history and provides new insight into who we are today. So that looks really awesome. So I'm definitely going to read that. Again, see, this might be the first one I read. I'm not sure. There's another one, another candidate. This is the book I bought in Rome. Infamy. I bought this in Rome itself. It had a really cool English language part to its gift shop, its bookshop. And I saw that. I thought, I'll get this. The Crimes of Ancient Rome, called Infamy, by Jerry Toner. Rome is an empire with a bad reputation. From brutal games to depraved emperors, violent mobs to ruthless wars. Its name resounds down the centuries like a scream in an alley. But was it as bad as all that? Join historian Jerry Toner on an investigation to discover the true extent of Rome's crimes, from the peccadillos of Tiberius and Nero to the unfortunate boy emperor assassinated by his grandmother. So this is kind of a bit more anecdotal, but I think it should give a really good insight into the complexity of ancient Rome rather than just the sensational side of it. So we'll see. But I was thinking that might be the first one to read. I keep changing my mind, but there's that one as well. And then I'd like to get to those, but I don't know if I get to all of those, but I'd like to get to those. And there's this one as well, this book about Attila the Hun. So I don't know that much about, I know what he did, and I know why. I know that a lot of it was down to his strategy. So it wasn't just brute force, but he was a very clever military strategist, and he was clearly driven by conquest. So I know about that, but I don't know that much about him. Barbarian Terror and the Fall of the Roman Empire, Attila the Hun. So this will be right at the end of the periods. So I could read this in March as the period is going to a close, so it can bring in the next period possibly. But this is right at the end of that first quarter period, Attila the Hun by Christopher Kelly. So there we are, some really interesting books there that I think is a nice way to kick off the first quarter in this year's Historathon. Let me know what you think and whether you think they looked interesting, and if you're going to read something else. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay curious, everybody.
Paint me a picture